Hello, and welcome to Ice is Slippery, an unserious podcast about hockey brought to you by 1.5 hockey fans. My name is Kate, and I'm the hockey fan.
And my name is Fred. I am half a hockey fan.
Good morning, Fred. How are you today?
Good. It's kind of afternoon.
I guess it is afternoon. Our schedule is a little wacky today. We're recording a day early.
This is a day early.
So, new and exciting adventures for us.
I guess so, yeah. We've got a trip coming up tomorrow, just an overnight, and wanted to make sure we still made a podcast, I guess.
I know, we're so responsible.
Right.
Mature. We're like real adults.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything much. It's vacation time in Fred land, and I'm just living my best life.
I am almost on vacation. I have one more work project to finish today, and then I will be on vacation for this week.
Mm-hmm.
Our kid is on vacation. You know, everything's good.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and check in on how things are in hockey land.
All right. Sounds good. There was hockey going on. We watched some hockey this week.
There was. I was going to start off with some stuff that was sort of hockey stuff from around the internet that I loved and or hated.
All right. Sounds good.
So one of them is that hockey stats can get pretty esoteric.
Yeah.
Some of them are just a real reach.
Some of them are just way out there. I get it.
They get very specific and bespoke, let's say.
Very.
I think, though, that a Redditor uncovered something that is very important. They posted it to our NHL, and I wanted to share it here. So we know that Dustin Werewolf is the rookie goaltender for the Calgary Flames.
Yeah, I like Wolf.
He's great. He does his fun little warm-ups. Everybody thinks he's cool.
Yep.
So he had a shutout 1 week ago on December 14th. And this Redditor remembered that he had also had a shutout back on November 15th. And he looked and he figured out that those dates had something in common. Do you know what that is?
They're like a month apart. The Ides of December and November.
They are both full moons.
Oh, interesting.
Dustin Werewolf, 2 shutouts, both on full moons.
Interesting.
He's clearly a werewolf.
He might be. That's why he's short, right?
He is short.
That's not a problem for a werewolf.
Yeah, he's got extra powers.
Yeah.
He's a superpower. They also noticed his best non-shutout performance happened on October 15th, where he saved 31 out of 32 shots and had a .969 save percentage. That was just 2 days away from the full moon.
I was going to say, that'd be pretty... Yeah, so he's like the ER, like just high energy during the full moon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's just science. This is a scientific fact.
That is absolutely science. We need to find out his star sign now. Sun sign, star sign. Yeah.
Is there a moon sign? Is that a thing?
There's all kinds of signs. We just need the major one.
All right. Well, I'm sure you will get right on that because I don't believe in that stuff.
But you do believe in werewolves.
Well, yeah, that's normal. Werewolves, yes. Astrology,
All right. Sounds good.
Speaking of science and things that are totally real, Max Domi has joined John Tavares in endorsing that weird-ass amulet shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I guess I should go back and say that the Dustin Werewolf stuff, I love it. That's the verdict.
Oh, okay. Verdict.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Verdict, I love it.
Nice. We need a sound effect for that.
I guess. Maybe it can be our cat yelling into the microphone.
The Law and Order cha-ching.
So speaking of science, Max Domi has joined John Tavares in endorsing that weird-ass amulet shit. This is extra disappointing. Max Domi has been sort of a spokesperson or advocate, what have you, for type 1 diabetes, which is, actual science stuff.
Right.
Apparently, according to the ad stuff from the amulet company, which I will not name because nobody needs to know that, he needs his phone, Max Domi needs his phone to manage his diabetes, but he doesn't want the EMF radiation to affect his recovery and performance.
Wow.
So Max Domi himself said he immediately felt better after he started using the amulet.
The power of placebo.
Apparently. The last time we talked about this fucking amulet on this podcast, I got so many targeted ads for it. And I had to pull up a new story about it. And I know it's about to happen again. So I'm prepared for a new onslaught. So in conclusion, I hate this. I hate everything about it.
Yeah, I guess I don't hate people repping silly stuff, but I think I probably do hate the fact that he's tying it to an actual thing that it's not helping.
Right. He's not saying that it helps with his diabetes, but he is saying that it helps with the radiation that he gets from managing his diabetes on his phone.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's a bad take.
It's hard to know if he's saying that or if it's just what was in the sort of Instagram post from the amulet company. I can't believe we're talking about this.
All right. So hate it.
Hate it. Hate it. Hate it. All of it. It's the worst. And I wouldn't be opposed to, I mean, I collect vintage jewelry. I like a shiny necklace.
Yeah, yeah.
This ain't it.
No, this ain't it.
This ain't it. If you care to check it out, some of the teams are putting out some great social media content for the holidays.
Yeah, the social media stuff has stepped up here in the last week or two.
Really have. We had the Minnesota Wild awkward photo shoot with JCPenney.
Yeah, you had me watch that before.
Yes, I think we had just seen sort of the highlights of it somewhere, and then I sent you the full length before the podcast. Did you see it all?
Yeah.
What did you think?
It was amazing.
It was so good.
They were legit having fun, and that seems to be a important aspect to hockey teams that I enjoy.
Yes. When they have fun and like to be around each other, it seems like maybe it translates onto the ice, and it also makes me to connect to them as a viewer.
Yeah. I mean, that's for me, like these teams that have done well with their social media, I'm more connected to. The Capitals, the Wild. Toronto is actually kind of okay with the social media. It's just not for me.
San Jose?
Yeah, San Jose. So, yeah.
I'm more inclined to put those games on now because I have gotten to know the players on social media.
Exactly, yeah. And Florida does a great job. Not Tampa Bay.
Right. Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I mean, maybe the Lightning do as well. I don't know. I've never seen it. I won't seek it out.
Yeah.
Nothing can make me like the Lightning, apparently.
And Boston has some fun stuff, too.
Yeah.
And you know, it does. When you're on ESPN, you're like, oh, we're going to watch a game. Which game will it be? Oh, let's do this one. And you go to pick a broadcast. We're picking the ones that we know. So it's Capitals, Wild, Sharks. Like, those are the ones we're leaning to now.
Exactly. So the Minnesota Wild awkward photo shoot, which was an official partnership with JCPenney, which is apparently still a brand.
I did not know that was official.
Yeah. I mean, I knew they had closed down a lot of their brick and mortars, but I guess they're still sort of online and everything, which is wild. No pun intended. Pun intended. No, it was really fun. They were clearly showing the images to the guys that they wanted them to recreate. And the guys were like, oh, my God, this is terrible. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and some of them clearly were like, oh, this is going to be so uncomfortable. All right, we're going to go for it.
Yeah, there was some, when they had to
smash their faces together.
Yeah. And close their eyes.
Yeah.
Guys like, want us to close our eyes? Like all of us?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, let's do it.
All right. Yeah. No, they were just totally game. They just went into it and, you know, praising Brock Faber for doing a good job being upside down. They're like, way to go. Good athlete.
Yeah, I will say, if anybody hasn't seen it, this comment is going to sound weird, but Marc-Andre Fleury between Faber's legs was not a good look.
It was not. They made it very awkward.
It was very
awkward.
awkward.
Made it funny and like fun, but they really went full awkward with it.
Yep.
It was great. I loved it.
Yep.
So I'm big fan. It was great.
Yeah.
The Washington Capitals also had some great content as always. They just crush it on the content all the time.
Those guys are game for silly fun.
Yeah, I think that I feel like genuinely that they have silly fun times off camera constantly. And so when the camera's around, they're just kind of used to it.
Yeah.
They just seem to have that vibe. So they had to gift wrap snow globes. Mm-hmm. As somebody who is a terrible gift wrapper, I really vibed with this content.
Yeah.
I am very bad at wrapping things. And I was like, oh, I sympathize with their struggles. Ivan Miroshnichenko?
Okay, sure, that guy.
Very bad job with that. I looked up how to pronounce it ahead of time. Miroshnichenko. Ivan Miroshnichenko. Mm-hmm. I don't know if everybody had the same snow globe, but he had an Alex Ovechkin snow globe. And he held it up and referred to Ovi as his second dad, which was very cute.
I must have missed that part.
It was very cute. He did the best job of wrapping his. He kind of cut it so it had kind of cute little points at the top. Mm-hmm. It actually looked pretty stylish.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
One of the funniest parts for me was that they were out in like the lobby or something. So other players who weren't participating were walking by.
Right.
So Dylan Strome walked by at one point and said 0 chance about their wrapping ability. And whatever player was there was like, yes, agreed. Mm-hmm. And then he came back later on his way out and was just kind of peering over, you know, from the door and just looked so unimpressed by whatever was happening. And then Trevor Van Riemsdyk also came by and helpfully pointed out that at places like Gucci and Louis Vuitton, they'll just gift wrap it for you.
Yeah.
Most of them did a really terrible job. But at the end of the video, Connor McMichael pointed out that they did make great content, which is really what this is all about.
Yeah, he got the assignment. He's like, this isn't really about like a competition.
Yeah, he says you guys don't care how well we wrap snow globes. In fact, you want us to do badly. Exactly. You want us to suck at this and you want to laugh at us.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. So he nailed it. He understands it. And I love it. I love all of it. What's not to love about any of that?
It was great. And a snow globe definitely is a hard thing to wrap, especially if you're not into wrapping. Like, you've got to have a plan of attack. Those guys obviously had no plan of attack. I do think that one of them was maybe left-handed, cutting with right-handed scissors at one point.
Oh, so extra degree of difficulty.
Yeah. And I was like, if he's left-handed, he probably knows that there are left-handed scissors, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just passed that part of, growing up in school, like cutting things out.
That could be.
I don't know. Anyway.
No, that's a good detail that I completely missed. So that was kind of the hockey news that was just not actually hockey news. It was just stuff in the hockey world that I found entertaining in some way. On to more official hockey news. Mm-hmm. Leon Draisaitl very quietly hit 900 points this week.
Oh, he's only like 100 behind?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's only 100 behind Connor McDavid.
That's nothing.
He's just
couple more
thing.
Seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. The Rangers have continued to be an absolute dumpster fire.
Apparently.
On Sunday, the team healthy scratched Capo Caco, and he was not happy about it.
Nope.
He came right out to the press and said, I was surprised. I know we're losing games, but I think it's just easy to take the young guy and put him out. That's how I feel. I've not been the worst guy, but that was me out of the lineup. Mm-hmm. He also said Coach Peter Laviolette said he needed to, quote, change something, but he didn't offer any specifics on what Caco could change about his game.
Yeah.
So great coaching, great communication. Mm-hmm. That communication continued when Caco was back in the lineup on Tuesday and nobody told him. So he didn't find out until later in the day. Well, the good news is they won't have to worry about that tension in the locker room after all of that, because on Wednesday they traded him to the Kraken. So it's Capo Caco on the Kraken.
Capo Caco on the Kraken.
They traded him for defenseman Will Borgen, a third-round draft pick, and a sixth-round draft pick in the 2025 draft.
Okay.
Caco is a 23-year-old who was a number 2 overall pick. Will Borgen's a 28-year-old D-man. So a lot of people think giving up a young number 2 pick for a 28-year-old D-man and 2 really late picks, not a great trade for the Rangers. So people aren't impressed for a lot of reasons. The drama, the gossipiness of it, it just bad look for the organization overall. And then the return they don't think was necessarily great. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't seem to be, what's the word? I don't know, generating good karma. And it seems to be coming back to them.
Yeah, the goodwill is not ideal.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that the Rangers are on a downward spiral and that they will surely continue to be easy pickings for the next team they face. And yes, that is ironic foreshadowing.
Ah, interesting.
In other news, Amazon announced that they'll be doing a second season of the Face Off Inside the NHL show that they did.
Yep.
Last season kind of focused on several players around the time of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. We don't know much about this show, which we really didn't know much about last show going in. We do know that they will be focusing on Brady Tkachuk as one of the players.
Okay.
Which I think means just mostly we'll be getting more Tkachuk family content.
Yeah, I guess that's all you can hope for there. Like, he's certainly a good player and had some amazing things in the last couple weeks, but he's still
on a bad team.
He's still Brady Tkachuk.
He's still on a bad team. He's not doing so hot. The rebuild has stalled. It's spinning its wheels in the mud, let's say.
Yeah.
But, his brother's great. He's got his dad. He's got all of that. I really think at this point, the Tkachuks just do a reality show in the off season.
That'd be fun.
I think people would watch it.
Yeah, like MTV style.
Like Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
I was thinking Real World for some reason.
Oh, boy. Oh, I don't know if we're ready for that. Like Big Brother. Like cameras in the house 24/7. That might be too much Tkachuk.
That's too much Tkachuk.
That's actually just a great name for the show. Too much Tkachuk. Call me NHL. I have great ideas.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tkachuks, on Monday, the Panthers played the Oilers in Edmonton.
Right.
And this was the first time those two teams have faced off since the Game 7 Stanley Cup Finals, where the Panthers beat them and won the Stanley Cup.
Right.
So real sort of,
high
stakes, I guess.
Yeah.
High emotions, one would say. It was a really high scoring affair. The Panthers eventually won 6-5. The pregame interview was pretty great. There was an interviewer who noted that Maddie played the villain in the Amazon Prime series pretty well.
Right.
And asked if that series might amplify Oilers fans' perceptions of him as a villain. And Maddie replied, I don't know what they think about it here, but I know they like me in Florida, and that's all that matters. And then he smirked and just walked away from the microphone. It's like a total badass. And I know there were other people who wanted to ask questions.
Right.
But he was like, I'm picking my moment. Let's go.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be a great place to wrap this clip up.
That's awesome. He knew that was good content and just was like, I'm out.
That man knows how to wrap up a story.
Mm-hmm.
The Panthers' social media reposted the clip with the caption, "No lies were spoken."
Right.
So they
get it.
They get it. They get him. They appreciate it. We were talking about it, when the social media can capture who the players are, it's really great.
Yeah.
Someone else who is getting a lot of appreciation is Patrick Laine, who's really settling into his new home. He had a hat trick on Tuesday.
He sure did.
A patty hattie, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
The team and his fans seem to really love him, and I'm just so happy for him.
Yeah, we've watched a lot more content of him. Not the games, I don't think, because I don't think we need to start watching those games.
Montreal's, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot to watch.
It's a little intense for us, maybe.
A little bit.
Certainly for you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like too intense, like distilled hockey for you, Hockey Town.
Yeah, and I've only ever heard you talk about this guy and mention him over the last couple of years.
You haven't really been, when you've been watching hockey, he hasn't really been playing.
Yeah, this is my first context for him. This is really this season. I was aware of him being a person and then some of the backstory, but not like anything past that. So we've spent some time watching. They're putting out a lot of content with him being front and center, and it's absolutely delightful. He's super interesting. I get it. I don't understand it, but I get it and I like it.
He is quirky.
Yeah.
He is a manic pixie dream hockey player. He's Finnish. He's very Finnish.
Yeah.
He's just an odd little duck. He gives great sort of interviews and is very silly. We've seen some sort of behind the scenes stuff with him and his girlfriend, and he's just very charming and funny, and
yeah,
you have to root for him.
I feel like you do. And I feel like that whole city and everybody that supports them is just showing up for him. And I think it's great.
It makes me really happy because I feel like he has been through it, and I'm happy that he's landed in a place that appreciates him.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who have landed in places that appreciate them, once again, we're going to go on to a section that I think might be a reoccurring segment. It's time for Wedge Watch.
Hell yeah, Wedge Watch.
So last night, we decided to put on a hockey game after the Stars game because some of us, named Kate, needed a little palate cleanser.
Yeah, it was you didn't want to go to sleep on that Stars game.
Nope. I don't like nightmares.
Yeah.
So we decided to put on the Avs game just to check in and see if Wedgewood was playing.
It was just to see if he was in.
Yeah, we weren't planning to watch it or anything.
Turns out he was in.
We came in at the end of the first.
Yep.
Just in time for them to start putting on a presentation about why Scott Wedgewood is the greatest boy alive and why they love him so much.
It was, I mean, we came in and they were singing his praises.
Immediately. We came mid, just like, Wedgewood is our Lord and Savior.
Right.
We love him so much. We never want to be apart from him again.
Right.
He has saved our season and possibly our lives.
Yeah, no, he's certainly loved amongst the announcers, and then it seems like from what they were saying, the team and the fans are just completely there for it. But literally any time throughout that game, they talked about Wedgewood.
Well, yeah, we ended up watching the whole rest of the game.
Watch the whole thing.
Because they were talking about our best friend, Scott Wedgewood, and we love him, and we love a supportive team, I guess, apparently. I will say, let me just say this. I'm not a Colorado Avalanche fan, but I'll always be a Scott Wedgewood fan. So I'm not going to ever root for the Avalanche, but I will root for Scott Wedgewood.
Which...
I know you think by the transitive property means that I'm rooting for the Avalanche, but I'm not.
Well, you certainly want them to score points. More so than the other team so that Wedgewood wins the game.
I do like it when Wedgewood wins the game and when he has a really good save percentage, and it's nice when his goal differential is good and stuff, but mostly just as long as he's making really great saves. That's my main concern.
Yeah, fair enough. And so throughout that game, anytime they talked about Wedgewood, Like we should literally do a supercut of them they could not stop.
It would be like a 20-minute supercut.
They were like, it was honestly close to being a little much. It's like, cool, all right, just leave it alone.
Well, the Avalanche broadcasters are kind of,
a little much
about their players sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's usually like McKinnon McCarr, and it gets kind of annoying. But like, you know what? Good for Wedgewood.
Yeah.
He deserves a little adulation, even if it is a little extreme.
Yeah, no, he did great last night, and they were there for it. And then he got the post-game interview.
Yeah, he did. You stuck around for the post game, which we never do, but you had a feeling.
I had a feeling
they're going to talk to Scott Wedgewood.
They are.
And he did.
It wasn't a matter of who scored the goal to win the game. It was a matter of Wedgewood stopping the goals.
He was so good. I mean, even the broadcasters, the final score was 4-2 in favor of the Avalanche, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the broadcasters were adamant that both of the goals that got in were not Scott Wedgewood's fault. They were deflections that nobody would have been able to stop.
Right.
And he is a very excellent goalie, and those were not on him. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they were definitely adamant a couple times that those goals were not on Wedgewood, and nobody should think that.
Mm-hmm. And if anybody says anything bad, we're going to come to your house and give you a stern talking to.
So anyway, yeah, we're pretty much Avalanche fans now when Wedgewood's playing.
You are. I'm a Wedgewood fan.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, though, it's a good team to watch when they're clicking. Like, it is exciting. They are really good. They feel competent. I think I said this the other night. Like, they feel like the adult in the room when they're playing well, where you're just like, oh, everything's okay. Don't worry. There's an adult here. I don't need to,
You did say that, and it is how it feels. It's like, oh, okay, somebody has the reins. This is not like a runaway buggy, horse and buggy. Somebody is steering this.
Yeah, yeah. And I know, I guess they've been inconsistent, right, this year. So I don't know how, if that'll be the case every time we tune in. But when they're on, they look good. And they're fast. My God, are they fast.
They're very, very speedy.
Yeah.
I also just want to point out that the organization itself really seems to be pro Wedgewood and pro his partner, Mackenzie Blackwood.
Mm-hmm.
They have really started to brand the two of them as a goalie duo.
Right.
The official Avs social media has dubbed them the Lumberyard. And has a picture of, a goal with like stacks of wood behind them and then them in front of it because it's Wedgewood and Blackwood.
I mean, I love that.
It's so cheesy, but it's great. It just, you see that like, okay, they're like, hey, this is a thing.
Yeah.
People like these two guys together.
Right.
They work well together. They're already doing a name. It just makes me think that, hey, maybe there's some long-term plans for these guys.
I love it. He's right down the street from us now.
He is.
So good times. Yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like I never wanted him to leave Dallas.
Right.
I feel like he's an ex-boyfriend and we just broke up because of circumstances.
Right. Yeah. You moved away to college or he got a job somewhere else. And
Exactly. It was a very amicable breakup. It was just the situation. And now I see him and he's living his best life. And I'm so happy for him because he's such a good dude. But it's like a little bittersweet because I'm like, why can't it be with me?
Right. Well, I think you said this last night. At least it's not with Nashville.
He got out of the relationship with us. And then that relationship with Nashville was just toxic. It was a very bad rebound.
Toxic rebound.
It was a toxic rebound relationship. But I'm happy he's with somebody now who's treating him well, who appreciates him for who he is as a person.
Yeah.
So good for you, Scott Wedgewood. But yes, it is bittersweet. That's the only way to describe it.
We basically sound like the announcers just constantly being like, he's the best. He's the best.
That's fine, though, because we aren't being employed by any organization. We are freelance hockey fans.
Exactly.
So there. And supposedly this is a Dallas Stars and Flyers podcast. So it's fine because we're not giving a tongue bath to one of our own players.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. So really, we're very partial. I guess let's start talking about our teams now. The Flyers. We'll start with the Flyers. We can get through this pretty quick.
Okay, yeah.
They only played 2 games this week and they weren't great.
Who'd they play?
We played the Red Wings on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
And the Red Wings didn't like losing 4-1 when Scotty Lottie went on his crazy run last week. So the Red Wings won 6-4.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the next night they took on the LA Kings, who beat them 7-3.
Right. We missed most of these games.
We did. They both, I think, conflicted with Stars games.
And school plays.
Yes. that was the second one.
So
I do know Noah Cates scored a goal in each game, which now brings up his goal total for the season to 4. So,
yeah,
he's been looking great. He's really come on gangbusters. I think the biggest thing to talk about on the ice from this week was the very bizarre non-call situation in the Red Wings game.
Oh my God, that was funny.
It was great. So an official put his arm up and then immediately changed his mind and put it back down. But it was kind of too late, and it led to this complete Benny Hill situation.
It was. Oh man, with the Benny Hill music, that would be quite funny.
It really would be. So I guess he saw something that he thought was a penalty, and then was like, "Oh no, never mind."
Apparently, you can't do that as a officiant.
No, you can't do that. Kind of once you're in, you got to commit.
Right.
So he put his arm up and then put it back down, and he was by the Red Wings bench, and he's like, "Nah, never mind. It's cool. You guys keep playing."
Right.
Well, I think, what was it? Sam Ersson was in the goal.
Yeah.
And he saw the arm go up and he was like, cool.
Yeah, delayed penalty.
He
immediately starts skating off.
He skates off the ice. TK jumps on the ice.
Right.
So they're going to go, have the extra man for the delayed penalty. So all of a sudden, now there is no delayed penalty. So the Flyers have 6 men on the ice and no goalie. And then Ersson's like, wait, fuck, I guess I got to go back out. So he goes back out, but TK doesn't know what's going on, so they still have 6 men on the ice. The announcers are losing their minds. They are like, too many men, what's happening?
They're like, it was funny. They had no idea what was going on.
And then finally, another official blows it down and is about to call a penalty on the Flyers for too many men. And John Tortorella, who, as we all know, is a paragon of civility and...
Cool as a cucumber.
Lost his ever-loving mind.
Yeah.
And was freaking out, and for good reason.
You had your fucking hand up. He said that so many times.
And it did seem like they were trying to argue for a minute that he didn't have his hand up.
Right.
That maybe it was like a flinch or something.
Yeah.
And then they kind of realized pretty quickly that no, he fully had his hand up. So he kind of skated awkwardly back out and he was like, there was no penalty, and then skated away again. But it still wasn't clear whether he was talking about the initial penalty or the too many men penalty.
Yeah.
But in the end, they just restarted play and nobody had any penalties. But it was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Yeah. No, it was great. I mean, just getting Torts fired up is worth it. Like that was amazing. So.
And speaking of Torts being fired up, I think we maybe forgot to talk about this last week.
Okay.
So Torts doesn't often back down on things.
Right.
But it seems like he's maybe backed down on something. Mm-hmm. Somebody asked him about, Michkov attempted a Michigan again last week in the Red Wings game where we beat them 4-1.
Michkov gonna Michigan. Michigan.
He's putting the Michkov in Michigan.
Yeah.
Something like that. So a reporter asked about, Michkov continuing to go for the Michigan.
Right.
And Torts said, speaking sort of in general, I think, that he has, quote, lost the battle against Michigan goals. He doesn't think there's a place for them in the game.
He does not.
But even though I don't think he was saying that specifically about Michkov, he was also kind of saying that Michkov's just going to do what Michkov's going to do. So essentially, he's got Michkov to agree to not try it every game.
Right.
So only do it when there's a really, really good chance, like a much higher chance, and to not be a turnover machine about it.
Right, exactly.
Like, if you can do it and it's like the best possible play in that situation and you won't immediately turn the puck over, then fine. I guess you can do a Michigan goal.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, if you must.
Yeah, he's tried to temper the situation a little bit, but yeah, he's fully just gone like full grandpa, and he's like, kids these days can't win.
I feel like maybe that was Michkov's plan all along. I think he was like, if I just try to do this every game, then eventually he's going to be like, fine, just do it, but just only do it sometimes.
Right, exactly. And I feel like that's good coaching, right? Like I learned that, when you know it's coming, it's easy to defend against.
Yeah.
And when you mess it up, it creates rush turnover situations.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think he's probably learned to chill out a little bit, but yeah, he's going to do it. He wants one real bad. I think once he does that, then he's going to invent his own goal. Yeah.
And move on to there. He just wants to conquer this one little thing.
I think so.
Something else that has come up is, I guess, Michkov and Connor Bedard are pretty friendly.
Okay.
Which is really nice.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I have on that.
I will say we've come around a little bit on Connor Bedard this week.
Yeah, recently. No, with the Michkov stuff, that what I know about that, it interview that Mishkov gave in Russian, so it was translated. So I don't know all of the details, but basically he said Bedard's always been sort of nice and reached out to him, and even after Mishkov's dad passed away, and they keep in touch and communicate, and he's a pretty good dude.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we saw something the other day where he
got chippy with one of the announcers saying something about one of his goals, like, you probably could have got that in on me kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. It was, I think, Darren Pang. And
yeah,
he was like, I think anybody could have gotten that on you.
Right.
And he's just starting to be a little bit of a smartass. Like, it looked last season like he just didn't have much of a personality. And I think he does. He's just kind of a troll.
He has that kind of like slacker, deadpan skateboard stoner kind of thing going on that I don't think I realized. But the more you look for it, like, he's kind of roasting everything going on around him at times. And
constantly, just like low key.
Like low key, like totally slip under the radar. You'd be like, I don't know if that guy has a personality. But then you're like, wait, maybe he's being, oh. So anyway, I don't know. He seems a little more fun to me this week, and I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah, no, somebody to keep an eye on. I guess.
Yeah. Let's keep an eye on Connor Bedard.
Yeah,
he might be somebody.
Listen, we know he's good at hockey or whatever,
right.
But we're here for the personality.
Absolutely.
So let's be real. Speaking of personalities, it's time to talk about the Dallas Stars.
All right. Yeah.
I guess I did forget to talk about the Dallas Stars holiday content earlier. They got together and decorated gingerbread houses, and everybody gave each other the flu.
Right.
The end.
Yeah.
It's pretty emblematic of the Stars as a whole right now.
Were there just pictures, or was there like any
just pictures?
Just pictures, no video content. Nope.
Just pictures. The pictures are on Twitter. You could vote, and whoever won, something happened, and you could vote for multiple ones. And it was clearly just people voting for Wyatt Johnston because they like him the best.
Right.
It was dumb.
Okay.
It was not great. You know what else is not great?
What?
The Dallas Stars.
Yeah, they had a week. They played one game this week that was good, though, right?
Yes. The first game of the week, it started out okay. We played the Capitals.
Right.
And we watched it and we were like, oh, this is one of the better games they've played all season.
Yeah.
They're wearing their blackout jerseys, which helps because those look badass.
Yeah. They look like cool firemen.
Yeah.
Right.
Or highlighters or Monster Energy drinks on skates.
Yeah.
The Capitals play a very physical game, and the Stars actually showed up ready to play that style, which is really crucial because the Capitals don't care if you're ready to play that style or not. They will roll right over you.
Right, for sure.
If you're not ready for it. Leon Bichel absorbed a hit from Tom Wilson pretty early in the game, which I think we all kind of knew was going to happen. Tom Wilson, noted physical player. Leon Bichel kind of brought up, to be our big physical guy.
No.
He just absorbed the hit and was fine. And then he kind of took a minute to pause and say, who hit me? And just noted it was Tom Wilson. Didn't do anything, didn't retaliate. But, he's making a mental list.
Yeah.
And Tom Wilson is now on it.
He's on the list.
He's on the list. He's like, I'm not going to do anything. But if this guy proves to be a problem, I will have to have a polite conversation with him. I also think it's important to note that Logan Stankoven plays like he's the same size as Bichel.
Totally.
He is 60 pounds lighter and almost an entire foot shorter. And, Bichel was out there playing a big physical game against the Caps. So was Logan Stankoven. And frankly, I love that.
Yeah. Stankoven's got that energy. And there was at one point he was up against the boards and someone's like pushing him, and like you can't push him over either. I don't know if it's like the low center of gravity, but like he holds his own out there, but against everybody.
Yeah, no, he really stays upright. He's just durable.
Yeah.
He's
durable.
Very durable.
Yeah.
He is. Brendan Smith came into the lineup. He's kind of our seventh D man. He's not always in, but he's good because he brings a lot of physicality. Probably the most important thing he did all game was Miro cross-checked somebody who made some contact with Jake Ottinger. And then somebody wanted to throw hands with Miro. And Brendan Smith immediately dropped gloves and skated up in between and was like, no, fight me instead.
Right.
Which is great because you don't want your skills guys to be fighting, especially against the Caps who are all large.
Right, exactly. It was kind of a lame fight though, right?
Oh, Brendan Smith immediately went down.
Yeah.
It didn't, I don't think he even got a punch in.
Yeah.
But that's fine. And I think they both got 5 minutes for fighting. But, again, fine. I think Miro maybe didn't even get penalized. So he did what he was supposed to do. He was physical with different players. He protected Miro. He did all that stuff. He is one of those guys that's great to bring in for when you need a more physical game. Unfortunately, I just don't think he's picking up our system very quickly.
Okay.
And I think sort of the sporadic use of him adds to that.
Right.
Overall, I still think he's better than Dumba. I think he brings the physicality of Dumba, but I don't think he's as much of a liability.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a left-handed shot and Dumba's a right-handed shot. So Dumba's always going to edge him out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, which sucks.
Yep. Yep.
Nils Lundqvist did have to leave that game early with what we later found out was the flu.
Yep.
So some of our D-men really had to step it up. Miro had 27 minutes and 42 seconds of ice time, which is a lot, but actually by Miro standards, it's not that much. He kind of always plays more than 20 minutes a night.
Okay.
Esa Lindell played 30 minutes and 37 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. We were shorthanded for 8 minutes, and Esa played for 7 minutes and 58 seconds of that time.
Wow.
And the Capitals did not score a goal against us on the power play. So, and a lot of that came down to Esa. So
Yeah.
he was great.
Yeah, it was a good game. I enjoyed watching that game a lot.
Yeah, no, it was really great. Everybody sort of played their role and did what they needed to do. I don't even remember who scored the goal, I don't think. But it was...
Yeah. It was one of the few games that I've seen with them recently when everything was clicking. They were moving as a group and a unit. There was a flow to the game. There was a physicality. There was an aggressiveness. There was like an awareness. They had all the things going on that they can have going on at times. And you're like, wow, those stars are real good. And that game was one of those ones where you're like, oh, everything's clicking.
Yeah, no, they felt cohesive. They felt like they were kind of doing well all over the board. The final score ended up being 3-1 in favor of the Stars.
Mm-hmm.
And the goals came from, there were 2 from Robe Hintz and then 1 from our boy, Leon Bischel.
Yeah, Bischel.
Bischel, so clutch.
I mean, we could just
Love
make
that
this
kid.
into a Wedgewood Bischel podcast at this point.
I would have no problem with that. It kind of is going to kind of be that. This won't be the last time we talk about Leon Bischel, incidentally. It was a good game. I enjoyed that one.
Yep, great game.
It was the last good game we would see from the Stars this week.
Wah, wah.
Wednesday, we played the Maple Leafs. It was, speaking of esoteric hockey stats, Jamie Benn's 1,143rd game as a Dallas Star, making him the person who has played the most Dallas Stars games.
Okay.
Now, Mike Modano played more games with the Stars organization.
Right.
He's played like 1,400 something, but 300 something of them are with the Minnesota North Stars.
Right.
So again, there's just always a caveat.
Yep.
Or a thing, you know, it's no Dustin Werewolf is all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
The game was a shit show. There was some really awful reffing, starting with Maverick Bork getting arguably boarded. Razor seemed to think it was pretty clearly boarding.
Mm-hmm.
Boarding is kind of down to the discretion of the officials. I could see the call being made either way.
Okay.
But he did get sticked in the face on the way down.
Sure.
So, and you're supposed to have control over your stick. So, you know, I'm not great at saying what's a penalty and what's not, but there was an official staring right at it. And I feel like something could have been called. There was a really, really bad hit.
Mm-hmm.
Maverick left the ice for a while. When he came back, he had a black eye. It was not good.
Gotcha.
Later on, an official was looking right at it when Mason Marchment took a hard cross check to the lumbar spine that was also not called.
Yeah.
I don't think it helps matters that Mush tried to use his stick to like push himself up, getting off the ice, and then the stick broke and he went back down and he looks like a tragic Victorian child.
It was
very dramatic.
I mean, when that happened, I was like, oh no, did he get a concussion? Is this what brain injury looks like? It was not a good look.
It was not. And people played that clip out of context a lot. They didn't show the lumbar cross check.
Right.
And of course, Mush has the reputation that he has. And so everyone's like, haha, diving, especially because he did go on to play immediately after that. But he did not come back for the third period. So I do think he was pretty hurt. And it was a nasty cross check. Like, it was really bad. He got the same kind of cross check, I think, in a playoffs game last year. And that did get called, but he also got called for embellishment, even though he fully could not see it because it was somebody from behind him. Right. So again, I just think my boy is very floppy and dramatic.
I don't know. He's it's a hard sell to say that Marchment is being singled out, or I don't know.
No, I get it. I think he does look like he's selling it. I don't think he is. I think I can see why people think that he is. I think Some people are just inherently more dramatic. I'm one of them, so I empathize with him.
Yeah.
I think he's a theater kid or something. And
sometimes you got to make it look like it hurt.
I think it does hurt, maybe just for a second, but you know how it is, like when you're a kid and you're like, ow.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what Mason Marchman is like. He's just a perpetual child who's like, ow. And then he moves on. It's fine. But anyway, I ordered myself a t-shirt that says I am Mason Marchman's attorney and he is innocent. So I'm unhinged. You can't take anything I say seriously.
It's true.
It's true.
An actual t-shirt.
An actual t-shirt. I will post it on the social media when it arrives. It's pretty great. I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
Other things that happened during that game, which was against the Toronto Maple Leafs, I feel like I should add, I guess.
Yeah, they got a high skill quotient there.
A Robertson scored in that game, but it was not the right Robertson.
Yeah, the other Robertson was looking good.
Yeah, it was Nick Robertson, Jason's brother. He got a goal and an assist. He's Brobo instead of Robo. He's Brobo.
Brobo. Mm-hmm. Like Broby from the...
Yo Gabba Gabba?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, I forgot to mention with the Mason Marchment after the cross-check, do you know who skated up to get in Timmins' face to defend Mush?
Stankoven?
Stankoven.
Of course. Yeah, I did not know that. That was just a guess.
He is such a little yappy dog, and I love that about him. It's great. Max Domi's amulet was working in this game because he had a goal. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be too hard on the goaltending, but Jake looked exhausted. It was his 7th straight start because his backup has been out with the flu.
Right.
And it looked like maybe he had the flu too. Mm-hmm. He let in some goals and they ended up having him not come back after the second, and his backup was in. So I guess his backup is well enough now to dress.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't think he looked that bad, but he didn't look like himself.
He did not. No, he looked exhausted. And there were people from the Stars subreddit who were at the game who were like, oh no, in person, he looks like an actual zombie. Like,
yeah,
it was not good. Still, I was kind of willing to cut them some slack about the Toronto game just because everyone's sick and or injured. And, you know, we had both Bichel and Petrovic up from the Texas Stars. Although I think at this point, Bichel's just a full Dallas Star.
I feel like he needs to be.
I think so, too. Last night, though, we played the Rangers.
Did they win? They didn't win
the Toronto game?
Right.
No, we lost 5-3.
5-3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not a good showing.
Yeah.
So last night we played the Rangers.
The Rangers.
I had a feeling going in that it was going to be like a Preds situation.
Right.
Like when we played the Predators.
They're the dumpster fire team coming to play.
Yeah. A team that's on a real big downward spiral and struggling and is just going to get their groove back against the Dallas Stars.
How the Rangers got their groove back.
Exactly. They play the Dallas Stars. Just like the Predators. Like it's the sequel. They did not prove me wrong.
Yeah.
They started Jake again, so this time it's 8th straight start, even though, again, Smith is dressing, so he's clearly well enough to back up.
But they're just going with Jake. Interesting.
Stars Twitter is like, Scott Wedgewood would never allow this to happen.
Right. He'd be like, put me out there. This guy needs a rest.
Exactly. He was always like the biggest advocate for Jake and Jake advocating for himself. And it just feels like maybe DeBoer doesn't trust Smith.
Yeah, something, maybe.
Which, valid, but it was not great. The game started out super weird in the first minute and a half. Each team had a goal called back for being offside.
Yeah.
So it kind of started off wacky.
And you said something like right within the first couple minutes, right?
I said, this game's going to be fucking weird, isn't it?
You said that.
I posted it online. Too.
Yeah.
I think I posted it on Twitter. I was like, this game's going to get real fucking weird. That's, I'm pretty sure the exact quote.
Mm-hmm.
I was correct. It turns out it was very prescient.
Yep.
Ropehans did get us on the board almost immediately after the 2 offside goals, but then it was all downhill from there for the Stars. The game was basically a special teams showdown.
Right.
We did have a few penalties against the Rangers, so they were on the power play for, I think, 6 minutes altogether.
Okay.
We were on the power play for 29 minutes.
29 minutes.
That is almost half of the game.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a period is 20 minutes. And
there's 3 periods.
Yeah.
So that's 60 minutes. 60 minus 29 is 31. I can do math. So yeah, nearly half the game we were a man up.
Yeah.
How many goals do you think we scored with the man advantage?
I don't think it was many.
It was 0.
Oh, 0. That is not many.
And actually, the Rangers scored a shorthanded goal. So technically, it was kind of -1.
Scored -1, 29 minutes of power play.
-1 goals on the power play, 29 minutes.
Wow.
I've been saying special teams is a problem. I've been saying the power play in specific is a problem.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who's been saying that, by the way. I'm not like a hockey genius or anything. I'm not like pretending.
You're not over here with
I'm like...
You're not over here with your unique take that's really just the...
I'm not pretending that I have some unique insights that nobody else shares. But I don't think that this is something that the organization can ignore at this point.
I mean, that seems like a pretty... You know, you were talking about esoteric stats. I feel like what you're talking about there, -1 with 29 minutes of power play time's not an esoteric stat.
Yeah, that's pretty crystal clear. that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that could have made it like worse / more clear would have been if they would have scored another shorthanded goal.
Right.
It was embarrassing.
Yeah, you seemed
bad.
You seemed very unhappy during that game. I was present for the game, but mostly in my computer for some reason. I was just bopping around doing computery stuff. And
I wouldn't have watched either.
Yeah, because I mean, I was sitting next to you and you were just kind of going on about power plays and this is bad and this is embarrassing and oh God, here comes another one. Maybe we can do something. Oh, we can't.
I never said maybe we can do something. Don't put words in my mouth.
All right.
I never once said anything.
There was never one bit of optimism.
No, every time we went on the power play, you know what I said? I said, oh, there's a power play. Maybe the Rangers will score another one.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah. It was dark times last night.
It was, I would say it's not even like the most down I've been. I was just more resigned than anything else.
Yeah. I feel like every minute, like you were like sinking down further in your seat and pulling like a blanket up over your face more and more.
I fully hid inside of my shirt at one point.
Yeah.
It was brutal. I think for most of the 5-minute power play, which we'll talk about.
All right.
Somebody on Tumblr did suggest at one point that the Rangers were committing penalties on purpose so that they could go against our power play unit.
I mean,
and it's honestly not a bad strategy.
That's not entirely far-fetched.
So I mentioned that we were on a 5-minute power play at one point, or a 4-minute, I guess.
5.
5. Yes, it was 5.
It overlapped with another power play.
Oh.
Anyway.
I can't think about it too closely or I'll start to cry. But the long and short of it is that Matt Rempe, everyone's favorite goon, was up for the Rangers yesterday.
Yeah.
He was doing Matt Rempe stuff. He was not skating very well and doing all kinds of things and smushing people.
Right.
He did plaster Leon Bischel into the boards a few times. Leon Bischel looked mildly irritated, like maybe a gnat was buzzing around his head.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, again, he remains completely unfazed. But then he went that extra Matt Rempe mile and put Miro into the boards with his elbow in the back of Miro's head and neck.
Yeah.
Got a 5-minute and a game misconduct and was kicked out of the game. And now he's going to have an in-person hearing with the Department of Player Safety, which if they do just like a long distance hearing, then it's not going to be a more than 5-game suspension. If they do in person, that opens it up for the possibility of more than 5 games.
Yeah, it seems like it's maybe time. Like you were saying earlier, like, I don't know that I can call penalties. I don't know that I understand them. That one looked bad. And I was like, yeah, I think this is bad. And it seems like everybody was like, holy shit, that was bad, regardless of what team or what organization. Everyone's like, no, you can't do that.
That clip got posted in Our Hockey. I've never seen it more unified in there.
Yeah.
People from every hockey fandom were in there going, what the actual fuck?
Right.
That can't happen. People were very impressed that Miro was still playing after that.
Yeah.
It was pretty fortunate. I mean, he even got up right away and was like in his face about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well.
Also, at one point, somebody checked Oscar Beck into the boards, and then Matt Rempe decided to like go over and like yell at Oscar Beck about getting checked into the boards.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Colin Blackwell was not having it. He went over and started like hollering at Matt Rempe. And then Logan Stankoven was also coming up from behind. And we talk about how small Logan Stankoven is. Colin Blackwell is also listed at the same height of 5'8". Mm-hmm. So I do like that some of our tougher guys are our tinier guys.
Yeah.
That was all, obviously, before Matt Rempe got thrown out of the game.
Yeah. No, he seems like maybe a problem. And I think it needs to be addressed. Like, you can be a physical enforcer guy, but you don't have to be like that.
People say that they think he just doesn't know how to hit in a way that's not dangerous.
Right.
Because he's just not a good enough player. And maybe that's it. They also think maybe the Rangers should be held accountable at this point because they seem to just bring him up for this purpose. Mm-hmm. They're 4-0-0 when he's up with them. Like, they know he'll make shit happen, even if it's not like on a play. He did draw 2 penalties last night, too. So,
yep. Well, we'll see.
Once again, I think I got to say that the biggest bright spot was Leon Bichel. He fully saved a goal at one point.
Right.
He just got right in the net behind Jake and just fully kept a puck out of
from a breakaway attempt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He got in a shoving match with one of the Rangers players, which was really great.
Love that.
But he's wonderful off the ice too. After his game on Monday, he had a post-game interview with Brian and Sevy. Mm-hmm. And Brian was like, hey, you've been up for a couple games now. You know, has your family made it out to see you yet?
Right.
And he was like, oh, yeah, no, they're skiing in the mountains in Switzerland right now.
Right.
And he was like, I better don't talk to them too much because, you know, they're in the mountains and I have to work.
Exactly. He's got a job. They're on vacation.
Yeah.
You don't need to ruin someone's vacation. Also, he's working. Yeah,
he's working. He probably doesn't like have a full-time place to live right now because it still is sort of,
right.
You know, I happen to think he's going to stay on the Dallas Stars. I think we'll see a lot of paper transactions where it's like, he's back to the Texas Stars. Now he's back up to the Dallas Stars for cap accrual purposes. I think it would be idiotic to have him not stay with the Dallas Stars at this point. But
I was going to say, you just said that out loud.
I did just say that out loud. So maybe this is just wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah.
But yeah, he probably doesn't have like an apartment yet or anything. He's probably living in a hotel room.
Right.
He's busy. He wants to like earn a spot on the team permanently. He doesn't want to like be showing his parents around Dallas. Like,
yeah.
And he's also like, my parents are skiing. There's very bad cell reception there.
Exactly.
We are Swiss. This is.
You don't interrupt skiing for hockey.
Yes. This is very silly. So yeah, the Dallas Stars, it's not looking good right now.
Yeah. And you think the game last night, the energy and the connectedness was not there. They didn't look like they were out there having fun. They didn't look like they were out there as a unit, as a team. But also, I guess, the special teams are just a disaster.
That's really the takeaway from me.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. The special teams guy is Steve Spott. He's Pete DeBoer's best buddy. He always goes with him and is in charge of his special teams whenever he coaches. Mm-hmm. Pete DeBoer will not get rid of him. So I think at this point, the organization has to take a pretty close look and go, hey, the special team situation has not been good. That was really fucking bad.
Yeah.
And Pete, you got to do something. And if Pete's like, he's my guy, I'm not letting him go, then the organization's got to look at letting Pete go.
Yep.
And frankly, I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yep.
I think the culture is not great right now. And I think maybe a new coach could shake up the energy.
Yeah.
It just seems very fractured over there.
Well, that'll be exciting to see what happens. It does seem like getting a new coach does kind of
You can put some pep in your step.
Getting a new goalie does things and getting a new coach does things, apparently.
We might just need to shake it up. And, you know, if this is going to happen, it needs to happen pretty soon. So maybe this is kind of a good time for it to happen.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't know.
We'll see. So I always like to end the episode by doing something a little fun, especially these days when I talk about the Stars. I'm very sad.
Yeah, yeah.
So with hockey, you know, everybody is superstitious or they talk about the hockey gods, things like that.
Right.
I'm a writer. That's my day job. I think about hockey in terms of storylines. It's kind of part of what attracted me to the sport. You know, every team has its own story. The players have their own stories. And as the season goes on, I feel like you see certain storylines starting to emerge. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I feel like it's the most interesting story that wins the season.
Yeah.
You know, like the Panthers last season, they made it all the way to the finals last year. Everyone was broken. And then, you know, they came back the next season and won it all.
Right. Exactly.
So we're at the point of the season now where the playoffs are still very nebulous, but I think we can start looking at the storylines.
All right. What do we got?
And over the last week or so, I have seen a storyline emerge that I think is like a real front runner. It's going back to Wedgewood.
Okay. Awesome.
So my prediction right now of the storyline that is going to prevail this season is that the Colorado Avalanche are going to win the Stanley Cup and Scott Wedgewood is going to play a crucial role in their run.
Hey, That's an awesome story. I love that story.
I think that the Colorado Avalanche and Dallas Stars are on sort of like this mirror journey right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with Scott Wedgewood, he originally signed with the Stars for 2 years at $2 million.
Yep.
He was going to re-sign with them last summer. He was very clear. He wanted to stay with Dallas. Like, that was his forever home. He wanted to be there. He loved it there. He loved the team. He loved the city.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted 2 years at $3 million. That was what he thought he was worth.
Sure.
You know, he thought he had proved himself. Jim Null said, no, it's 2 years at $2 million or nothing.
Right.
So Scott Wedgewood walked. He went to Nashville, who was willing to pay him that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we said, Nashville was toxic. He ended up walking, but
Right.
Avalanche were happy to take on that contract, and they seem to absolutely love him.
Right.
And ever since they have had him there and brought in Blackwood as well, they've had this huge turnaround, and the team chemistry is better, and everything's looking up. You know, their big issue is their goaltending, and solving their goaltending has been a huge, huge fix for them.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, we've got Dallas, who we signed Casey DeSmith.
Mm-hmm.
We signed him for 3 years at $3 million. So he still gets the $1 million a year, which is what Jim Null wanted to do.
Right.
Slightly worse numbers than Scott Wedgewood. I'm sure it seemed, you know, comparable
Right.
at the time. He has had some really bad performances.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't played for a while. Like I said, Jake's done 8 starts. So I don't know if it's the flu. I don't know if it's Pete not trusting him, but it feels like we're overworking our goalie again. Scott was a great room guy, and now it feels like our room is super disjointed. So Scott has brought all of his like room guy energy to Colorado. He's brought his great goaltending, you know, not just skills, but like state of mind to Colorado.
Right.
And I don't know, it just feels like at the same time that we're starting to unravel, the Colorado Avalanche are starting to get more tightly knit.
Yeah.
And if we don't correct stuff the way that the Avalanche have, I don't know, man. I just see, you know, we're kind of like neck and neck with the Avalanche, and I just see them pulling ahead of us and making it into the playoffs and going on a crazy run.
Yeah.
And yeah, I seriously, Stanley Cup playoffs, Scott Wedgewood, key component in that happening.
I love that storyline. And we were noticing there's a good chunk of previous Stars players on the Avalanche that like the names I recognize, right?
Yeah, Yoel Kiviranta is there.
Yep. And I liked him on the Stars.
He was great. He, funnily enough, I think knocked the Avalanche out of the playoffs back in maybe 2020 or 2021. So when he went to Colorado, people were like, no, we hate him, but also we're so happy he's here now because now he can't do that to us again.
Right, right.
So I think he even got to wear the special boy hat recently. So.
Nice. Yeah. And there's somebody else too, I think. I can't remember who.
There are other people, and I can't think of who off the top of my head right now either.
But either way.
Yeah.
No, they've got a kind of Stars energy now.
They absolutely do.
And they're right down the street.
They're right down the street from us.
We just need to get a couple jerseys and some hats, and we're game.
I don't know how many jerseys you need. I'm not going to be doing that.
No, I don't think I'm a jersey person, but I'll get another Wedgewood shirt.
I was saying I'll get you a shirt that says, I just want Scott Wedgewood to have a good time.
Exactly. That's really all I care about.
And I'm going to get a sign that says something like, I'm still a Dallas fan, but I'll always be a Scott Wedgewood fan.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my current prediction. Now,
right.
It still is only partway through the season. Things can change. There are always plot twists. So
right.
the storyline is not fixed at this point.
Sure.
Things can shift. You know, as a writer, I know that I will sometimes erase things and throw things out or change things. So maybe the Stars can still rewrite stuff.
Sure.
But we got to get a script writer in here. We got to get like somebody's got to fix something.
Yeah, they're going to be lost.
We need a really good editor.
They're going to be lost as a minor character.
It's not.
Yeah.
Just trying to think of a stronger finish.
Well,
sorry, go on.
Well, I mean, there is always the storyline of the Flyers like making it into the playoffs and crushing it.
I do have that egg in my basket too. I love the Flyers and I'm rooting for them like crazy, but I just don't want the Stars to fall so far so fast.
Yeah.
You know, it just feels like they're on the precipice of of a collapse. Like they're going to go supernova, but not in like a fun, sexy way. Like
not Yeah, you prefer your supernovas to be fun and sexy.
Yes, not like catastrophic collapse.
Right.
Yeah, no, I want it to be like, boom, fireworks, not like, ugh.
Oh, this universe just got sucked into this thing.
Yeah, so...
Or however that works.
Yeah, so anyway, Christmas is coming. Dallas Stars, please stop sucking.
Yeah. Well, I will say, this week too, like, you've been, more negative, I think, than you've been in the last 2 or 3 years, but you are still like through and through a Stars fan, and it's not going to kind of change any of that.
That is a good point. In addition to my Mason Marchment t-shirt, I found a jacket online that was a like glitter Dallas Stars jacket from Hanger Hockey, like an official piece of merch.
Yeah.
Covered in sequins.
Yeah.
Green with silver stars all over it. It says Dallas Stars on the back. And I sent it to my family group chat and said, please talk me out of buying this jacket for myself. It is so much money for something that I can barely ever wear. And instead of dissuading me, my mom said, buy it and I'll send you the money.
Yeah.
So thanks, Mommy. Really appreciate it. It came yesterday and it's really bomb. So
it is one of the most tacky, over the top things that like is pretty nice. And when you've got it on, it looks kind of cool.
It's magnificent. It's truly magnificent. It is the kind of thing you can really only wear to a Stars game. I mean, I'll wear it to a Stars game in Colorado, but I will get made fun of. You are going to walk in there and people are going to be like, this lady thinks she's the main character, or whatever that turn of phrase is. Yeah. This lady has main character energy.
Exactly.
But you know what? That jacket gives me main character energy, and that is okay.
Yeah.
Again, I will maybe try to post a picture of this jacket on the socials because it's truly spectacular.
My goodness. Yeah. Wearing that to a Colorado game. Ooh, you might need to bring security.
I mean, that's what I have you for, right? My pacifist husband.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, I don't know her.
I'm going to buy a Colorado hat before I walk in there and be like, she's not with me.
You can even be with me as long as you have the Colorado hat. That will protect you.
I'll be like, yeah, guys, I know. Look at this. This is what I have to live with.
Be like, there's no reasoning with her. Anybody who would wear that clearly is not a rational human being.
Yep.
I'm going to wear it with I'm Mason Marchment's attorney, and he has an innocent t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh my
Everyone
God.
will understand that I am fully unhinged.
Yeah, absolutely. They will. I'll be like, wives, am I right? And they'll be like, yeah, we get it.
And with that, that's the end of regulation for this week's episode of Ice is Slippery. You can find us on Tumblr and Instagram at Ice is Slippery Pod, where I post content whenever I remember. We're also on Twitter now at Slippery Ice Pod. If, like Fred, you're afraid of social media, you can email us at iceisslipperypod@gmail.com, where we would love to hear your spicy takes or get suggestions for future games. Until next week, stay out of the penalty box.